So we're just doing a roundtable discussion just about our experiences and debriefing about today.
So we're going to start by kind of going about how it affected us, positive and negative, challenges that anyone found.
I guess I could start. The most challenging thing for me was getting through the door of the washroom. I literally had to take like ramming speed to open it, which is ridiculous. It was a really heavy door, and the door closer, made it like, close really quickly and rammed the chair, which was awkward. And then getting out of the washroom, I had to pull the door towards me, and there was enough room, but again, it was an awkward maneuver.
Do you think that in the washroom when you were struggling to dry your hands, you would have benefited from one of the universal sinks that you saw in SC2?
There was definitely, I had to extend pretty far, and I don't think that had I actually been disabled that I would have been able to actually prop myself up to do that. So it was definitely challenging.
And SC2 had the automatic doors as well in the washrooms, which would solve a lot of problems.
I was noticing from the retail standpoint, just talking about how we often design for accessibility, but we only do a certain portion of a piece of millwork and not the entire thing. Did you feel like in that process, did you feel a bit embarrassed trying to pay, or you couldn't grab it onto anything?
You're asking me specifically. No, so I did feel a little bit awkward and uncomfortable. I noticed people staring at me, and I did feel a bit of awkwardness with the employees behind the desk when I said I couldn't reach, say look, this doesn't go far enough where I could see the screen. So, but even just trying to reach, to get the second top shelf in those coolers, that was kind of uncomfortable. And then going around the corner, although there was that nice little countertop that I could slide under. Besides that, going around the corner and just trying to find a seat, that was probably the worst out of it all.
Let's say this one was available, even I can't even pull up because there's a post. So my legs literally That's really good logic. So my choices right now is that I don't have a seat. And I can't even get through there. I'd have to go all the way around to get and look for it.
I found going down the ramps were really scary. If you didn't have proper gloves that had grips, it could burn your hands and rip the skin. Yeah, they were really steep, and they were a 1 to 12, which is quite shocking.
I feel like when you're looking at a plan and you're trying to plan out a ramp, doing 24 feet, it's it seems so ridiculous.
Yeah.
When you actually bring it into reality and you're actually trying to do it in a chair, it's not enough.
Yeah.
It's not enough. It's a minimum, right? It is.
And so it's hard to get a balance on, I guess.
Yeah. And then the elevator in SC2 is so small that I felt like I was in a little coffin.
Staring at the wall.
It was just and I was like, okay, now let's just roll back out. It was so awkward. You didn't know if someone was behind you. You reverse into them, and then everyone gets really uncomfortable in a situation like that.
When I was trying to get into the stand in SC2, the transition between the corridor and the stand had quite a thickness to it, and I couldn't get over it. And I was coming in at a certain angle, and I had to keep trying, and I'm holding up the whole doorway, which was kind of embarrassing, and people are offering to help me, and then I had to wheel back and take it straight on and almost run into the
into the M&M display.
And then just going around the stand, everything was really tight to begin with, and then if the staff were doing any kind of stocking, which they were, then I was really I couldn't go into half the store. And just getting around, I was constantly having to pull myself instead of use my hands so I don't rub my knuckles.
I guess the positive in your situation is you mentioned someone actually did offer to give you a hand.
Oh, wow.
Do you want some help?
Whereas no one in that restaurant or coffee shop offered to give them their there was someone that I think there was a table of where 2 people were only sitting there, and they could probably have easily found another spot, but they didn't think to offer.
Yeah, I think it definitely made, I'd say all of us probably more aware that when designing for accessibility, we actually have to consider every factor and not just one point within a space or just a turning radius, because even 5-foot hallways are very tight.
Yeah, very tight.
I really used to think that was generous.
I put it into perspective that the minimum is like the minimum.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah,
that you
I
can just scrape by
I
with.
think that's one of the main
Literally.
things, because
Yeah.
the weight
Yes.
of the word minimum.
Yeah.
Like, take that really serious.
Yeah.
Like, minimum is like, you don't want to do it, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah, it actually
Yeah.
doesn't feel very accessible.
It was actually kind of shocking how kind of not accessible even the sunken bar was in the habitat, because it was like, I could pull up to it, but they had the kick bar, which you would normally have if you were sitting at a 42 whatever inch height bar, which I don't think you need when it's at low. It must have just been for aesthetics. But because of that, I couldn't even wheel up to the bar. Like, I was a good distance away from it, so I'd be like, okay, grabbing my drink. So that was a bit odd and awkward, and everyone was kind of looking at me. But people in the restaurant were actually really friendly. A bunch of people came up and said, oh, well, there's actually a ramp over here, and you can go down and sit down there if you'd like. So that was actually really nice of them to do that.
So,
A lot of these issues, do the design solutions come to mind?
design bigger. Like,
Yeah.
take the space, it's worth
Even
it.
like reach considerations and
Yeah, and eye level, like for the signs, like when you were sitting, I noticed, or by the Starbucks at the Rick's, and
Right.
you were looking at the menu, but the menu was way
It was
up
really
here, and so
high.
you were like kind of looking up, like that was way too
yeah,
high.
so even if there's like a smaller one or
Yeah, something a
place
bit lower, so you could see, and then even where the pastries were, like you're like, I can kind of see it, but it was kind of up
Yeah,
and
you
behind.
couldn't view it properly.
Yeah, so you need to definitely think about the eye height.
And in washrooms, probably having stuff laid out in front of you.
yeah, that it's all.
Yeah, so you don't have to
Oh,
like
yeah.
wheel this way to get
I
this,
couldn't
wheel
reach
that
the
way.
paper
Yeah.
towel.
Yeah,
and
because
the
even
wash.
the sink that had everything laid out for you, I think it almost was right in your face, like this is designed for someone who struggles, so maybe a solution would be like, it doesn't have to be so literal, but like you said, laid out in a way that it's all right in front of you and within a reach, like even if something was
Here,
to the
yeah.
side, like a way to dry your hands,
Yeah,
like
'cause
that, and having the
you
sides
couldn't
accessible.
You couldn't reach, and then even when you moved back, there was still a garbage can in the
Yeah.
way of the paper towel. So
Like
then,
sometimes they
Yeah.
actually integrate them into the counters, like
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
paper
Yeah.
towel
Yeah.
and then you add something on the side.
I think also designing for accessibility in ways that aren't so obvious, just for like the psyche of the person that's in the wheelchair, because you already feel like you stick out, and then when you're obviously like struggling to do something, or if you're in a space that's obviously only meant for people with wheelchairs,
Yeah.
you feel like you're even more ostracized.
It seems so sterile
Yeah.
too,
Yeah.
all of the things that are accessible
Yeah.
right now.
Yeah, because I guess that kind of ties into like the kind of the mental health aspect of things, and probably shed light to actually thinking about how crippling that would be, like mentally, that when you're in that position, because I think more it's like, yeah, we were filming, so that part of it was probably confusing to people,
yeah,
but even just the way that when you'd see someone in the distance, how they'd move out of your way, but not in a way to accommodate space, but in a way that it was kind of weird for them.
Yeah.
From when we first came up here, it's like, it's hard not to laugh because you see
Yeah.
Jen, who's
Everyone's looking at
very
me.
mobile.
Yeah.
But then I guess it kind of sheds light into remembering that sensitivity factor and just being more aware of it. And
yeah, totally.
again, making spaces that aren't so, it's like, you don't have to have a wheelchair to be able to
Yeah.
use this, like as a signage, so I guess that's universal design.
Yeah.